Hey guys, I wanted to go over sewer backwater valves and explain in some detail how they work and why you may want to consider having one installed in your house. I'm Jake with Mechanical Flood Protection. I've been in the plumbing industry for over 22 years. I am a licensed red seal plumber, and we've specialized all of our services here at this company to protecting you from having a basement flood. In today's video, I want to talk about sewer backwater valves and explain why you might want to consider having one installed, especially if you have a finished basement or you plan on renting that basement out to tenants. If you've ever had a sewer backup in your home or know somebody who has, you know anything to prevent one is probably a good idea. So a sewer backwater valve is essentially a check valve or one-way valve that allows the sewage to leave your home but doesn't let the sewer water to come back into your house, causing a disaster. So I wanted to explain how that works. So in all homes with basements, they have what's called a foundation wall, and that foundation wall runs down to a footing, and above that footing you're going to have a concrete floor. Now in your home, you're going to have what's called a building sewer or a building drain. Okay, and that comes from the municipal sewer at the street, and that building sewer is what it's called until it gets into your home, becomes the building drain in your home, and then we'll elbow up and service the plumbing in your house. Now, if you have a home with below grade plumbing or basic bathroom, floor drains, that kind of stuff, those plumbing fixtures are vulnerable to a sewer backup. Now, typically when we're installing a sewer like this, we'll have what's called a clean out. And that'll provide access for the plumber to be able to do any kind of cleaning, maintenance, or an inspection with a camera. Now, if everything's working properly and we have good grade on our drain, all the sewage water in your house will find its way to the city sewer. But what happens if the city sewer gets backed up or stops draining? Well, it'll start to build up with water and start creating pressure, and the sewer water will actually come back into your house. Now this can cause a huge disaster because who knows how much water is going to be coming back into your home. We've seen sewer backups with just a few inches of water on the floor, and we've seen it all the way up to a few feet. So what do we got to do to stop this from happening? Well, we got to put a device in place on the sewer that will automatically stop this from happening. This is called a backwater valve. Okay, so typically the backwater valve will be installed upstream of the cleanout in retrofit situations where we have a sewer already in place. And what this device does is it has a hinge on it. I'll blow it up for you so you can see it here. On the inside of the device, we've got our in and we've got our out. And it has a hinge and a gate that's nominally open. Okay, so when you're flushing your toilets, all your toilet paper, any feces or anything like that doesn't get caught up on it, causing a clog. So if the water ever comes back, it will then hit this gate and then close it and lock down your sewer from experiencing a sewer backup. So once the backwater valve has done its job and has closed the gate, stopping any city sewer water from coming back into your house, what does this mean for your home plumbing? Well, that's a good question. So you are using your toilets and your sinks and the water is going down the stack and also hitting a closed gate, which can be a real problem. Your basement plumbing, like let's say a floor drain, will start to back up, and you'll have some water on the floor. Like we're talking, like depending on how much you're using obviously, but we're talking a little bit of a puddle on the basement floor. Now this is your indicator that something is wrong. Now this puddle or this backup, that minor backup you're going to experience in your home when the backwater valve is closed is an inconvenience, sure, but it's much better than if you didn't have a backwater valve at all and you could have, say, a foot of sewage water in your basement. And that sewage water won't stop coming in until the city sewer gets cleared again and starts working properly. So when the backwater valve is open and things are working properly, the sewage water just leaves and heads to the municipal sewer. But if the municipal sewer ever becomes compromised or backs up, it will automatically close, stopping that sewer water from coming back into your house. Yes, the door is closed for both you and the city sewer, so there could be a possibility of some water coming up, say a floor drain. But most commonly what we see is that people notice that their shower drain or tub drain isn't draining very well, and it gives them an indication that something is wrong. But often you're not home or you're sleeping when these things occur. So you're probably not using your plumbing in those instances, so there'll be no damage at all. The sewer backup will occur while you're not home or sleeping, and you'll wake up or come back home to a dry basement and everything working properly, with you none the wiser. So let's talk about installation. So if you have a home that doesn't have a backwater valve currently installed, what we have to do is we have to come in, we'll have to jackhammer out a small section of the floor where the sewer leaves the building, dig down a little bit, and we'll have to cut and splice in one of these backwater valves into your building drain. Now this project start to finish typically takes about 4 to 6 hours to complete. Now that's from when we pull the jackhammer out till when the concrete's poured and we're swept up clean. Price ranges for these here in Nova Scotia typically range between $1,900 and $2,500 depending on how difficult the installation is. And one more point I wanted to make too is that insurance companies love these devices. Since you cannot really experience a sewer backup from the city having one of these installed, they lower your premiums typically between 2 and 5%. And the reason why is because they'd rather pass on that savings to you to try and prevent a major claim in the future. So if you're planning on finishing your basement or you have a finished basement, I would strongly recommend having one of these sewer backwater valves installed. They don't take a long time to install, they're not terribly expensive, especially when you consider if it stops one sewer backup from happening in your home, that is a fraction of the cost to replace your basement. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that this video gave you a little bit more detail on how sewer backwater valves work and why you may want to consider having one installed in your home. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on this video or send us a direct message. And as always, guys, stay dry.